Ang Airbnb sent me the door code to their weekend. The email arrived at 3:07 p.m., bright and cheerful as a party I hadn't been invited to. Hi Mark, self-check-in is easy. Your door code for the weekend is 419. Host, Layla. Address, Pine Hollow Cabin, 27 Alder Bend. It even had a photo of a porch pretending to be a photo of forgiveness. The reservation was under my name, my card on file, my inbox, my code, my problem. I read it 3 times like maybe the grammar would start lying for me. Then I did what adults do when their chest is a crowded room. I watered our nameless plant and wiped a spotless counter. I texted Lena, too casual because courage is a slow cooker. How's your Friday? Her typing bubbles appeared, performed indecision, vanished. Running late, she wrote. Client's notes are a crime. I clicked the message host button. Hi, I didn't book this, I typed, hand steady because muscle memory is arrogant. The host replied with a kindness that felt like sympathy's cousin. Hey Mark, booking was made by Lena W. using your shared payment profile. She wrote surprise for a friend. Everything okay? Surprise for a friend. The sinister efficiency of 6 ordinary words. I could have called right then. I didn't. I screenshotted the email and put my phone face down as if modesty could make the truth late. I folded laundry. I put on the quiet, unflattering sweater that has accidentally hosted most of my best thoughts. When Lena came home, she kissed my cheek with the old choreography. The room didn't change temperature. I did. Airbnb sent me a door code, I said. The smallest pause, the kind only people who have narrated each other for years can hear. She set her bag down like it contained a fragile animal. Okay, she said. No theater. The bravest kind of ugly. Pine Hollow, I added, because saying the name out loud felt like introducing us to the hall we were already in. Under my card. I'm sorry, she said, and the sentence landed with a weight that made claims unnecessary. It was supposed to be, not this. Who? I asked, because nouns are kind when they arrive quickly. Julian, she said. I knew him. The producer with the good coat, the calendar that eats holidays, the man she described once as competent the way bridges are competent. He and I had shaken hands at a wrap party and controlled our smiles like professionals. Do you love him? I asked. It came out even and small, like a coin sliding across a counter between strangers. I don't know, she said. I love you. I love how easy it is to forget to be excellent in this kitchen. I wanted to see if I could be someone else for 48 hours and lie on the way home. That was the plan. She laughed once, a sound that failed the audition for humor. The plan, I repeated to make sure the word heard itself. Then, let's make a different one, a month. Pause, you at Maya's, me at Liam's. Ugly chairs, honest sentences. Sundays in public places with fluorescent lighting. No cabins, no door codes we don't share. She nodded, relief and grief braided. Yes, she said, and I'll tell him not to write a story in which I am brave at the wrong door. We packed like polite burglars. She took the sweatshirt that makes my hands move without asking my permission. I took the plant on the logic that photosynthesis is uncontroversial. At the door she reached for my face, then her hand hovered, asking in its own grammar, "Can I still?" "You can kiss me," I said, as a true thing, not a future. We kissed like people who know what they are risking by being soft. My hand slid under the hem of her shirt and found the warm strip of skin above her waistband. Her breath did that private double I'd started to treat like a superstition. We stopped because stopping could still be pride and not fear. Liam's couch has a degree in the male aftermath. He handed me a blanket, a beer, and a TV remote set to a sport with stakes you can count. I slept like someone had turned me down but not off. In the morning, my phone held a new message from Pine Hollow. "Enjoy your stay, Mark. Firewood under the tarp." I replied, "We won't be using it after all." And because good manners are sometimes the most aggressive defense, I added, "Thanks for your help." At noon, a number I didn't know texted, "This is Julian. I'll cancel the cabin. I don't want to steal your weekend or your life. If you want to see the human and not the coat, I'll be at the bench by the canal at 2. If not, no problem. I'll be somewhere else learning decency." He was there at 2, of course, competence in a scarf, humility trying on his mouth. He didn't offer to shake hands because he's smarter than his face suggests. He made room on the bench, and the city pretended to be neutral. "I'm stepping back," he said. "Not as performance. I'm switching projects, different floor, different hallway. I like your person. She likes you. I like that she likes you. I hate that I liked being the exception she made to her own rules." "You sound rehearsed," I said, and didn't make it mean less than it did. "I write for a living," he said. "Turns out consequences prefer prose too." We sat there in the cold long enough to feel useful. "No cameo," I said finally. "No cameo," he echoed, and then he left like a person who understood exits. Therapy happened in a room that would disappoint Instagram but impress your grandmother. The chairs were ugly enough to stop us from curating ourselves. The therapist had a voice that made lying feel like a tax you couldn't afford. Lena said, "I wanted to be wanted without chores. I wanted to be looked at without context." I said, "I wanted to be trusted because I wrote one good sentence 3 years ago about us." Then I coasted on it. We left with puffy eyes and homework we could do in a kitchen. In week 2, I met a woman who collected benches. Not literally, just the kind of person whose face becomes a place to sit. She was feeding bread to geese the park sign had politely asked her not to feed. "They can read," she told me, tearing another generous piece. "They'll choose." She had a name like a door left ajar, Myra. We walked the long loop together, saying necessary things calmly. At the corner where the streetlight forgives everyone, she kissed me once, soft and clean, like consent doing yoga. My hand found the respectful map of her shoulder. Her breath rested at my jaw for exactly the right amount of seconds. We stopped because we liked ourselves when we do. "Choose boring and earn heat," she said, smiling in a way that made the advice feel like a dare I could enjoy keeping. On Sundays, Lena and I did the fluorescent light ritual. 2 questions. When did you want to run? When did you want to stay? She wanted to run when her boss said lean in and meant give more of your life to me. She wanted to stay when she pictured us old and cruel to each other about crossword clues, and both of us delighted to be right only half the time. I wanted to run when I walked past a store that sold camp gear and shame. I wanted to stay when I imagined making soup she would brag about to nobody online. Pine Hollow emailed again with automated sweetness. "We missed you this weekend. Here, 10% off your next stay." I archived it and watered the plant like it had asked me to. On day 26, I opened our shared calendar to schedule the oblivious, dental cleanings, a dinner with friends who love conflict generously. There was an old hold on the weekend past, the kind of gray block you put to remind yourself you are allowed to rest. The title said breathe. I changed it to after, because sometimes the nomming is the carpentry. On day 30, Lena returned with 1 bag and no speech. We made tea and let the kitchen's honesty bulb do its worst. "Rebuild," she said. "Rebuild," I said. "Slow, no monuments. We date each other in our own house with receipts and naps. If you feel famous in a room we're in alone, say so. If I start narrating instead of listening, throw a dish towel at my head." She laughed because we both like simple violence in service of mercy. We kissed the hello you give someone who's allowed to touch your throat. Then we kissed the kind with hands under shirts, the warm strip above a waistband uncovered like a thesis you still agree with. We kept it day safe, honest, greedy enough to be human and careful enough to be proud of later. We stopped when stopping could be called teamwork. We wrote rules on an index card and taped it to the inside of a cabinet like a kid's drawing. Report temptation like weather. No rooms without windows. No secrets in appliances. If an invitation requires rehearsal, decline it. If an email sends you a door code, forward it to both of us or delete it like it's malware. Julian sent a final text worth exactly what it cost him. No cameo. I replied, none. I meant it and didn't feel virtuous for meaning it. Myra and I became cheerfully minor characters in each other's lives. Bench photos at noon, the occasional text with a sentence that did its job without trying to get famous. Choose boring, she wrote one cold morning, and the interesting parts will ask permission. I sent back a heart and a picture of our plant leaning toward a better window. We named the plant at last. Not Mercy, not Forgive, not Pine. We called it Ledger because we were going to keep better accounts with ourselves, debts, credits, the clean arithmetic of unglamorous love. Pine Hollow wrote one more time. Host Leela here, hope all is well. The cabin's yours if you ever want it. I didn't answer. I saved the email for a day and then deleted it the way you break up with scenery. There are still days I unlock my phone expecting a porch to glare back. There are still hours when Lena's mouth makes a sound that used to belong to a plan and my body flinches like a poorly trained dog. We say it out loud. Her. I wanted to be a myth today. It was exhausting. Me. I wanted to punish you with politeness. I did the dishes instead. We are learning a gross skill called unremarkable restitution. Last night we made pasta again because simplicity has the glamour of revisionism when you commit to it. While the water bullied the pot, Lena came behind me and slid her hands under my t-shirt, resting her palms on my stomach like she was checking that gravity still applies. I set the timer and leaned back. No music, no porch. The kitchen approved. Do we ever go to a cabin? She asked, mouth on my neck perfectly present. We make one here, I said. It has an ugly lamp and a plant that keeps accounts. She laughed into my skin and said, that's the most you thing I've ever heard. Then we took the pot off the boil and each other just far enough to keep the room intact. There is an erotics to restraint I had dismissed when I was young and auditioning for Thrilling Damage. It feels like prepaying the light bill for a month where you plan to read more at night. After dinner, we sat on the floor with our backs against the couch and did our ledger. I confessed that on my run I'd imagined pointing at the cabin and saying something cutting to the trees. She confessed that, when her phone buzzed with a number she didn't recognize, she put it in a drawer and made soup until the drawer stopped buzzing. We paid the tax with honesty and were allowed to be unfancy in return. Later in bed, the app on my nightstand congratulated me for a sleep I hadn't yet had. I turned the screen over. Lena turned toward me like a person who knows which side is warmer. The plant leaned because plants have few verbs and use them well. The porch in my head switched off. The door code forgot its numbers. We were people in a room, a ledger balancing in pencil, a month of small yesies that would not look clickable on a billboard and would outlast it anyway.